Hi everyone, Scrappy Kathy here with another edition of Off the Board, and this time I'm going to do something a little bit different. I found this pin, I pinned it a long time ago, loved the really large photo and this cluster of goodies here. Knew that I had some photos in my collection that might work. I'm also working with, I have a couple other things I'm going to try to accomplish. One is well, actually, there are two challenges with a new club that I've become a member of called Creative Cuts. And I've gotten some cut files. One of these is going to use a cut file that has some backing. The other will use a different cut file. Both of them have been cut a little bit, the cut files have. And I'm going to do two layouts at once, and they're both going to come from this basic design with the large photo and embellishments kind of layered over the photo. So let me show you my photos and kind of tell you what my plans are. I have this photo of Katie and Ava at Pensacola Beach, December 29th of several years ago, I think 2014. And I have this cut file of flip-flops. And I've placed the flip-flops so that the sand shows through, and I'm only going to back, as you can see here, a few of the flowers. I'm picking up the colors of the girls' shirts in this. I went back and forth about whether to do the straps and decided not to because I want that sand to show through and I want it to be clear that it's sand. This one's going to be very simple. I'll cut the rest of this flower, I've cut most of these, and then I'll get that glued on exactly where I want it, and then I will, but I'm gonna wait until after I've done some wet mixed media on this one. This is a picture of a sandcastle, one of the most amazing sandcastles I've ever seen, in Mykonos, in the Greek islands, on a cruise we took many years ago. And I have never done a 12 by 12 scrapbook of that trip. I've done a mini book and I've used miscellaneous photos in response to different prompts over the years, but I haven't ever really done this. So I'm going to start that. This is going to be my header page for the Mykonos section. So I'm not going to have anything other than a title and layers of embellishment. So this one's going to have some mixed media right in here. This cut file, haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do with that cut file yet. This starfish stencil, and I have some Viva Decor Artline structure paste. One is silver sand, the other is gold sand. I may mix them, I may use one or the other, not sure what I'm going to do there. So first thing I'm going to do here, and something that I really loved, I used to have, this is I think a digital page. The way that the text is layered, the typing is layered over the tags and so on. I'm thinking that this is digital. So I'm going to be reproducing it in physical form. One of the things I like is this border. And I used to have a frame or I guess it was a frame that you could choose on my word processing system on my Mac that would do this, blend the photo into the background. Well, I've upgraded a couple times and that's gone. So I'm going to try to do that physically with some paint. And I'm just going to kind of dry brush it on, trying to obscure the straight edges of this photo. And I'm choosing some fairly dried out Dilutions paint, and I'm going to brush it mostly off the paintbrush, and I consider this to be one of the most dangerous things I've done on camera, to actually work on a large photo like this. I'm hoping that you can see what I'm doing here, just kind of brushing it on. I figure even if I don't achieve the exact same look, I will achieve some blurring of the lines, and that's kind of what I'm going for anyway. So let me kind of, and I'm trying to do it unevenly. I like it so far. What do you think? Okay, here, this may go more quickly than I thought it would. Because I envisioned many do-overs. But I'm kind of liking how it looks. Let me go here. Now, after I'm done with this, I'm going to layer the starfish on. Okay, so you can kind of see now that it's blended in. It doesn't have a straight edge. Let me come up here where the blue is in the sky. Here are the do-overs I was talking about. The blue of the sky, I want to be sure that you can't see that straight edge. So I'm kind of covering that to make sure that's obscured. Same thing here with this dark blue layer of water. Okay, so I'm going to call that done. I'll put away the paint and this paintbrush, and I'm going to wipe that up with a bit of paper towel, just so that I don't get it all over the photos as I'm working with them. Okay, done. A little bit of cleanup there, we'll save that. Okay, now what I think I want here, when I put my stencil down, I want this not all the way over to the white edge, but just, and not perfect, and not filling the stencil, but just doing a swipe down. I'm going to say that because of the gold tone of this sandcastle in the photo, that I'm going to use the gold structure paste. And I was hoping not to open it if I didn't need it, but I did open it. How beautiful that is. Okay, and I think it's going to look realistic. I'm going to consider this one of many layers that will go down, and with the expectation that they'll be somewhat obscured by all of the embellishment layers, the tags and embellishments that are going to go on here. So it's not going to bother me if it's not completely, if it doesn't completely cover one of the stars in the stencil, or if some things look imperfect when I lift it up. So there's, lifted up, it's got kind of starfish flying from the sand up into the into the C there. Okay, so that's done. I'm going to quickly move this off to the side and bring the other page on while trying to wipe the structure paste off here as best I can. John, are you on stencil washing duty for me again today?
Sure.
All right. If you could wash this stencil, it's sticking off the page here, and the spreader. I'll toss that. Okay, now to nice dry work. Right there. Okay. I did not want to force you to suffer through all of the cutting of the backing of these cut files. And so I've done most of them. I've left this one. This is a different way for me. I have in the past turned a cut file over upside down and turned the paper upside down and traced through and then cut the shape and then fit it in and glued it on the edges. This one, these images are so small and the lines are so thin that I didn't think I could do that. So I'm using a technique that I saw Christina Sword use one time, and I have to tell you that it hasn't been easy at all. Here, I'll try to do it on camera, including the rough part. And I will also tell you that using a really sturdy, heavyweight cardstock like I've used here on the purple is just not as easy as using a thinner pattern paper as I did here on these blue flowers. So what I'm going to do here is kind of get this cut off. I have to work my scissors kind of under the cut file itself in places, and then I go back if I didn't get it completely cut out. And I may be doing this absolutely incorrectly, and I may have the wrong scissors, although these scissors just feel good in my hands. These are the Tim Holtz Teflon coated scissors, I think. They are. Let me cut this out. Cut that around. Now I've got just this part of the flower to get rid of, and what I did was put a bead of glue on the back of the image, and then just put the paper up close to it to cut it. And the glue sometimes got where it wasn't supposed to get when I kind of pressed the two together. So I couldn't rely on the fact that I could bend the paper back away from the glued part, which I have done on other files. So this one, okay, it's not too much of a mess. I will say that lessons I learned. I wish I hadn't cut the bottom off the cut file. I wish I'd left it whole, because it would have been sturdier. It would have held up to the twisting and turning that I needed to do as I was cutting it out. And I also wish that I had kind of thought through some of the twists and turns, and it's going to be a little bit difficult to glue. Let me use my wet glue to just glue it down, and I honestly don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm going to use it to turn it to glue it down because I'll be able to move it, and I think that will be enough. I'm off camera here putting that glue on just because I wanted it on my my craft mat. Here we go. And okay, it's down. The glue I used dries clear and matte, so if there's some that kind of sneaks out, it won't be obvious in the finished product. What I'm doing here is kind of just gluing down the parts that are backed and letting the other parts, like these little leaves and so forth, letting them curl. And I'm actually going to encourage the curl, kind of doing that for dimension. I thought about backing the leaves with green, and I kind of decided against that. Then I thought I might use a Wink of Stella green pen to color the sand underneath, but I'm not really trying to be all that realistic with the fact that these are flip-flops. It's a kind of an abstract suggestion of flip-flops, so it doesn't bother me that they don't have the little band across there. Now, some of these curls that I'm getting, some of this dimension I'm getting is intentional, and some of it was caused by the fact that it just plain bent on me when I was cutting the backings. Okay, that's about all I'm going to do there. I do want to put some jewels on in the center of these purple flowers. That was maybe a little too hard to push. Let me see. These may need some extra glue on them later. I also thought on these blue flowers, I have these little clear dots. Let me see where my jewel tool is, and I'm not finding it. Okay, when all else fails, I can use my tweezers. I thought I'd put these little clear jewels on the tips here, and I'm debating now whether that's such a great idea. It's cute, but what I like is for those things to turn up and provide some. So I'm going to back off of that idea and say enough is enough. Okay, my title here, I had a collection, a beach collection from a few years back by Fancy Pants, I think, called Beach Babe. And I cut this out, and obviously I've got two Beach Babes here. And I got some of the, you may notice, I got some of the white paint from the last project, still on my thumb. Touched these Ava's jeans here, so I'm gonna that tells me where I'm going to put the title. And I'm thinking I'm going to add an S at the end, and we'll go through selecting that S. But right now, I think I'm going to elevate this, pop this up. I just dropped a box of little wood things. I'm going to elevate it on some foam, and then I'll maybe slide the S up under it so that I had this wood Beach Babe that has flip-flops that would have been perfect, but I'm not using wood anywhere else on this layout, unlike the other one where I will use wood extensively. So I kind of decided against that, and I thought the colors here, I'm just kind of putting a little bit of foam on the back here. Cut that a little too long. Save that for something else. And I think this little square can fit in there and hold up that hibiscus. Put the lid on my glue. I've finally had it long enough and used it and left it open enough times that it's beginning to dry out and be a little difficult to squeeze out. And I hate that because this is the world's greatest glue and the world's greatest applicator. Okay, let me do that. And I have an S here in this kind of purplish pinkish font. I'm gonna cut through the packaging and cut it out. And let's see how this works. If I'd really thought about it, I'd have cut out and left something there, and I could put that on. But and I kind of debated whether this was too purple to use as an extension of this, but it's obviously an extension. It's a. I'm not going to hide the fact that it only said Beach Babe at first, and I added this S. So it matches well enough with the frame. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do here, we'll finish this off, and I'll do one little bit of it, and then off camera I'll finish going all the way around. There's a saying that I see from Lucy Buffett, who is Jimmy Buffett's sister, and she owns a wonderful restaurant in Gulf Shores, Alabama, and I think she's got another one up in Myrtle Beach. She is and Jimmy are both environmental advocates, and they do a lot to protect particularly the Gulf beaches. And one of her sayings, and it may be her original, or it may have come from one of Jimmy's songs, or someone else entirely may have said it, but I love it. It says, "Take only pictures, leave only footprints." So I figured that was a good sentiment for this layout. Let me make sure this pen actually has some ink, and it does. So I'm just going to write that, repeating it all around as a frame on this layout. And I'm going to take only photos, leave only footprints. And in the interest of time, I'll just leave it at that and then know that it'll be all around the page. Okay, that page is done. That's my Beach Babe page for the challenge that Christina issued in the Creative Cuts Club. Now I've got this one, and I am assuming that these starfish are dry enough for me to start layering layering things. And the first thing I'm going to layer on is the sandcastle cut file. I'm just going to put a little glue, and I'll let it look as if it's very loosely fitted on here. I don't need for it to be tight. If there are some pieces that look a little like they could move, like for instance, I want that flag to move. That's good. I will be kind of gluing it down more by piling things on top of it. So let me do this. What I liked here was when I was kind of placing this and seeing how it might look on the page, I noticed that the bottom part of the sandcastle was where the sand showed through, and then these horizontal pieces on the roofs were where the waves went, and then the roofs and the flag kind of were set off against the water. So I love that. I'm going to layer this wood piece next. I saw this in a, gosh, I want to say Jen Hadfield collection of wood pieces, and I pulled it out thinking this is the perfect layout to put it on. And I'm going to actually let that be a, now let me kind of bring up this for reference. There are tags upon tags and arrows and wood pieces and little circles and sentiments and circular bits, and then there's the mixed media underneath, and there's mixed media in a couple other places, but I really don't want to overlay this pretty sandcastle, nor the mess with the sky, so I'm going to kind of leave it. I'm going to simplify it a tiny bit. So I've got other tags. I could do something like this. I don't want to completely obscure the fact that this is a sandcastle behind it. So I've got this camera that could kind of go right there. I have this, it's a chalkboard on a little slice of wood. I thought I might use this slice of wood, but I think I'll use this little Amy Tangerine wood camera instead. And I'm putting on things I like in places that I like them, hoping to get the layering I want without obscuring the sandcastle. And I don't mind if it's obscured some. I have this banner. I'm going to cut it shorter and use it maybe just like that. Kind of peeking out there. press that down. I have these tiny tags. I like okay, that's good. Let me nudge this under here. I think even with the, here, let me do this. That's not staying on there very well. I need the wood to make contact with wood and not too much of the open area. So let me do that and kind of wiggle it around. It seems to be a little more secure there. I like these guys, and I'm going to maybe layer one there and one kind of right over it. Maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe there is where I would like to use my little potty people. There are potty people up here, and I have these two potty people. That I can use. I've got two female ones because I think I thought I was embellishing the page about the Beach Babes. So let me go get a male one because the people on this cruise were my husband and me. And this one is okay, let me see if I can do this. I'll put that there and let those kind of rest like that. Let me, I almost want to stop there, but it's not like me to stop. Let me nudge this under here. That obscures too much of the, I'll make this a skinnier tag. And I may make it shorter. Okay. I love these canvas, this rough canvas on these tags. Okay, these are moving around, and that's kind of the fault of the glue maybe not making contact with the wood underneath. Okay, so I've got the potty people adhered pretty well, and I've got these guys stuck to each other. So let me get a little glue on there and kind of slide that under. Now they're sticking to the tag. I have this Amy Tangerine Happy Memories, and if I use it here, it'll cover up too many of the sand dollars. If I use it up here, it's just plain covering up too much of the cut file. So I'm going to stop, and I'm going to use some of the round shapes that were intimated in the book, but I'm going to, for instance, put an enamel dot there on top of the camera. Is there another place I can put something blue, or a little line of some blue things. Let me do this, and then cut the middle. I like all three shades of blue here, so I wanted to use them all. Let me see if I can find my tweezers. I think I'm going to leave it there. My plan is to work the word Mykonos in here somewhere, but I have not chosen the thickers or the color for the titles. I will do that, and I doubt by the time I post this, I have to post it tonight for tomorrow's off the board. So I think I probably won't have chosen that. I haven't gotten very far in planning that book. I'm just trying to make this stick down. Now that I've put these 3 dots up at the top, I kind of want this window to stick, and it's because those sand dollars were dry, they're not sticking. Okay, I'm going to call this finished, as I said, other than the title, which will be the word Mykonos somewhere across there. It'll probably be gold glitter. I'm going to make that prediction, and it may end up right across here so that it doesn't encroach on the sand castle there. I'll encroach on the base of the sand castle here, and I'll leave all this gorgeous blue water and sky. The Aegean Sea is just absolutely the most incredible color of blue I've ever seen. So that's the end of the video. I've got 2 layouts here, 2 beachy layouts, using beachy cut files from Kreative Kuts, and I've used, for my design on both, I've used the same pin from Pinterest that I pinned a long time ago, and the pages couldn't look any more different, I think, even though I used exactly the same technique of printing a photo I love on 12 by 12 paper, and then embellishing a corner that doesn't have much going on. So hope you enjoyed it. Sorry it was a little disjointed today, but I'm really happy with the results. Bye.